What's going on, HCL fans? It's Gordon Sine here, and today I am joined by DJ Killer Banash.
Let's get right into the predictions.
And today we will be going over the Week 2 Pickem. So let's look at what everybody, we'll take a look at what everybody chose. But first, we're going to just review last week real quick. And just to look at last week, Fish, Gator, and Red all predicted all the matches that they could guess on, because obviously coaches cannot guess on their own matches. They got them all right, so they currently lead in the Pick'em record at 5-0. So going into this week, our first match is going to be Gator and the Salandits versus Red and the Delphox. And now, against popular belief, that Gator's gonna win here, Banash and I both went with Red, and the reason I went with Red on this battle was for one main reason, and that was Slowbro, because Mega Slowbro, it's bulky, and Gator does have a lot of offense, but with its bulk, it's going to be able to live a lot of hits, and since Gator doesn't have much defense, Mega Slowbro can do damage right back and pretty much handle Gator's team. On top of that, Gator did get a new mon this week in Toxapex, but that defensive power isn't going to really matter against a Mega Slowbro, seeing that it can just Psychic it to death.
As last week we saw, there was Red versus William, where Red actually had a really defensive team compared to William that had a hugely offensive team. And that showed to prove that Red can use his defense to his advantage, showing that when he stacked up the call mines, he almost swept the whole team of William.
Yeah, definitely. Red has a lot he can do, and he has a lot of mons that put in work that we didn't really get to see last week. But just knowing Red's team, he has a lot of defensive bulk, and I think he's going to be able to pretty much whittle down Gator and stall him out to a point where Red's going to be able to take this win. But Gator does have a strong team and a lot of options when it comes to building, so it'll be an interesting matchup.
That is true. Even when Gator played last week, Valor said that Gator put up a really good match, and it was quite surprising.
Exactly. So I think this could go either way, but I'm just leaning towards Red just because of how it went last week. So moving on to match 2, we have our new coach, Ursa, and his team, the Cubchoos, versus Colin and the Venusaurs. Now, Ursa is picking up where William left off. Ursa got to make 3 switches for some of his mons, and just because I think Ursa could come in wanting to make a difference, wanting to make a name for himself in the league, I think he could win this week. Colin does have some bulk and a lot of defense, so it could be an issue for Ursa, and Ursa doesn't have any league experience. However, I think Ursa's looking to prove himself, and maybe he can pull off a win this week. Again, I'm picking him not really because I think he's going to win, but more because he's the underdog, and I think there's a chance.
So when I picked Colin over Ursa, it was originally, in my opinion, it was going to be Colin versus William before the draft change. So I was like, okay, Colin is a lot smarter player than I saw last week, than I saw when William played. So I was like, okay, I bet you Colin's going to win this. But even when Ursa came in, he said that he had problems against one of the mons on Colin's team. I overheard him saying that he had problems writing a set for it. So he was having a tough time debating if he was actually going to be able to beat Colin. So that's why I kind of stuck with my guns with Colin over Ursa, despite the change.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see. Again, we have no idea what Ursa is able to do. Like last week, it's kind of a toss-up with some of these new coaches. It's like you've never seen them battle, so who really knows what's going to happen? So it'll be interesting to see what Ursa can do. Moving on to our third match this week, we have Fish and the Tympoles versus Valor and the Darmanitans. And it seems like most people have Fish taking this battle, although there are a few people that think Valor's going to win it, including the fans. However, Fish has a very strong team, one of the top teams. I think he still ranks in the top 2 for Mike and I's power rankings. And because of that, I think he's going to be able to beat Valor's team. I think a lot of his offense counters what Valor can bring. And on top of that, Valor played alright last week, but he did only win 3-0 and got caught kind of off guard by Gator. Plus, Valor plays a lot with what he's comfortable with, which is good in a sense that he's comfortable with his teams. However, it makes them more predictable, and because of that, I think Fish is going to be really able to analyze what Valor does and counter it.
So, despite what I saw last week, Fish put up a huge fight. I didn't know how Fish played. I didn't know how he would do in this league. And he proved me wrong. He proved me that he's actually a really high contender. And against Valor, which is the favorable pick of everyone, it seems like they're going to have a really good battle here. But like you said, Valor is in his comfort zone. And I feel like Valor didn't prove as much as he should have last week, only winning 3-0, despite how he said his opponent did really well.
Exactly.
Even for a person that has experience against a person that doesn't have experience, you should be doing a lot better and not almost struggling to win.
Exactly. And because of that, that's why I think we both went with Fish and why a lot of the league chose Fish here. Moving on to our fourth match, we have Mick in the Bronzongs versus Mike in the Lapras. And now this is interesting because if you remember last week, everybody picked Mike pretty much. I think there might have been 2 people that picked Cog last week when he played Mike. And exactly. And so this week is pretty similar with the Mick versus Mike picks. However, Mick did play a very good first match, but then again, it was against Rozzy, who just did not prep at all for Kartana, because he even admitted after the battle that he missed it. So I'm not sure how well Mick's going to be able to play here. Again, he can play really well like he did against Rozzy, but then again, Mike has a very threatening team, and I think could put Mick a little further down in the standings than he is right now.
I'm sticking with my guns with Mick. I just told you last week he's in it for the memes, and the memes came through. Even though his physical Blacephalon did nothing, hey, he still said, I brought a physical Blacephalon, pulled it on the table, and says, I have the balls. And, you know, that's a type of enthusiasm I like to see in a player, and that's why he's getting my vote.
All right, Vanash, well, we'll see if you can call the upset this week with that battle. Moving on, we have my match for this week. I'm obviously the New Jersey Giratinas, and I'm going up against Cog and the LA Haunters. And
do we even need to explain this?
Everybody, including Cog, because I took a look at what Cog picked, because Cog actually did pick for this battle, believes that I'm going to win. Not even Cog thinks he's going to win, and I think there's 2 big factors here.
Nobody wanted to pick a player for this game. Nobody wanted to pick either of you to win.
That's
but
not
it just
true.
so happens we have to, so we all made the smart decision to pick you. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. I don't know why we're discussing this column.
I think, like you said, I think I have a pretty good team against Cog's team. Along with that, I had a pretty good battle last week against Golem, and Cog struggled against Mike. Cog also didn't build his own team last week. However, I heard he's building his team this week with some additional help. So I think that's going to
help
be...
him this week too?
No, I'm not helping him.
You can help him this week too?
No, but I think he could put up a fight here, and I could definitely see myself losing this match some way, somehow.
No.
But again, everybody...
Unless you become blind, dumb, and stupid at the same time, it ain't happening.
Everyone has faith in me, so... Moving on to our final battle this week, we have Golem in the Pittsburgh Aerodactyls versus Rozzy in the Denver Avaluggs. Now, despite Rozzy losing pretty bad last week, having the worst loss, going 0-5 against Mick, most people think Rozzy's going to be able to pull it off. And I think my main reason for picking Rozzy over Golem was for 2 reasons. First of all, I played Golem, so I got to really see how he battled. I was there in the moment. Along with that, I think Rozzy has a really good team. If he preps right and brings the right mons, he's going to be able to very easily counter this team that Golem has. Because I remember when I prepped for it, I was able to find ways to pretty much counter everything. And looking at Rozzy's team, I feel like he can do the exact same thing.
Rozzy did get smacked last week, but I think that was mostly because of unluckiness rather than skill. Like he wasn't expecting Carton. He wasn't expecting a lot of the stuff Mick decided to bring, and he just got smacked because of it. And so I count that as like a fluke win. It's like the outlier. It doesn't really count. It doesn't show their real potential.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, Golem actually put up a good fight against you. But if that's all his potential, I don't know how he's gonna do well against Rozzy. Even though I believe Rozzy and Golem may be about around the same skill level, and I think Rozzy seems a little better than Golem's.
Yeah, definitely. I see exactly what you're saying. I think it's going to be a close match, but I have Rozzy taking the edge here. So that's it for our week 2 matches. We'll be excited to see how everybody does this week, and I will be back here with Cog at the beginning of next week to let you know how all the battles went down. And of course, Banash and I will be back here to bring you the week 3 picks. But until then, I've been Gordon Sine.
I'm gonna go eat more bananas, dude. Oh my god.
And he's been Banash, and we will see you next week.
Jesus Christ, man, my calf started cramping.